This has been the podcast from hell with technical difficulties. I swear. Memory card ran out of room, had a battery overheating. I don't even know what we were talking about that last time. So
I don't either.
Had a
Let's
dog-
roll into some topics.
had a dog like throw up in the middle of it.
We
All
had a
kinds of
lot
stuff.
go on here in the past little bit.
Oh, we were talking about how much time we'd spend on social media and how
that's
we're
right.
not really
That's right.
spending as much time on there anymore. I think, like I said, I check up with people, and that's pretty much it.
I send stupid memes to like you and a couple other
Yeah.
people, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays, and that's probably how a lot of people are consuming, because the share is such an important feature.
Well, it's such
it's more like a relatable thing,
It's like thinking about you.
Yeah.
I don't have any time to really get engaged too much other than like, but you kind of do because you're watching these fucking videos,
Yeah.
So, but like, anyways, thinking about you, saw this, thought you'd think it was funny too.
My dad will send me ones, and they're not like 30-second videos. They're like 7 minutes long.
Oh, gosh.
And he'd be like, watch this one. Because he knows, like one time I was over there and he sent me one and I opened it up. And as soon as I saw the bar at the bottom, and I was like, nah, Dad, I'm not.
Yeah, my dad will do the same thing. And he'll be like, when you get a chance, check this out. And it will be like an hour and a half, hour and 50-minute like podcast. I'm like, and it'll be like political or be whatever. And it's like, I kind of know what this person's already going to say. Let me,
Yeah.
and it's, I'll watch them. I'll listen to them sometimes. But
I feel obligated. I do.
I
Every
do.
time my dad does
I
it,
do.
I do it, even if it is
But
every
I'm waiting
time.
for some like groundbreaking stuff, and it's normally like I've seen. Well, we have politically similar opinions on a lot of things, and so
Yeah.
it's like I've seen the version that kind of is my audience, and you're sharing me your audience's
Right.
version, and so it's like it's a little boring.
I've since we're talking about political stuff, obviously Trump almost got assassinated.
Wild.
So that's pretty crazy. Hopefully I don't get demonetized for saying assassinated, but
Oh yeah,
there was an attempt.
There was an attempt.
And I don't know if you know, but like, have you seen the diagram showing like where the bullet would have entered if he didn't turn his head at that last second?
Yeah.
And so he claims just last second he turned his head to read the chart on like illegal immigration into the United States.
I feel like he whipped his head super fast and hard, like he just was like,
Yeah. Well.
somebody,
Well.
guardian
listen,
angel, God, whatever.
Okay. See,
Looking
that's
out.
what I wanted to ask you about. Believe me, I'm not. I guess sometimes I'm saying like some of this stuff is like so beneath God,
Yeah.
like if he,
Agree. I normally go like, my problems are not worthy enough of God.
But there are people on there now saying like, yeah, like God turned his head, like all this stuff, and I guess I have a hard time.
There are people doing just a lot more. So I say, I can only look at it through the lens. I try to be humble or whatever. So I say the burdens that I carry are not worth. So I have a hard time even, we've talked about it, praying and stuff, because I don't want to pray for help because I need to figure it out myself. And
Yeah.
I know that's not the message, but Donald Trump, whether you're for him or against him, is doing a lot more than I'm doing. So it's like his
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, so Aubrey showed me a video last night, and just understand that I'm sure a lot of people have prophesied a lot of things that have come true,
yeah.
because when you spout all the time,
Say enough stuff.
Yeah, broken clocks twice, right twice a day, right?
Yeah.
So this guy 3 weeks ago made a video that at that rally, President Trump there was going to be an attempt on his life, and the bullet was going to be so close to his ear, it was going to rupture his eardrum. I swear to you.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it was going to rupture his eardrum, and it was going to, like, blood was going to come from his ear. I mean, it's all in this video. He's like sitting in his car talking about this stuff, and it's 3 weeks ago. You can't fake that, because it's like posted 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's like the Alex Jones stuff. You want to look at some of the stuff he was talking about leading up to 9/11. It was like,
Yeah.
What?
And so, anyways, they said that he would then get on the ground, and in that moment, he would give his life to Christ,
Yeah. Wow.
and
Deep.
all that stuff. And they even said like he would stand up and lift his hands and things like that. So it's just like, it's wild. And again, I'm not saying that there's anything true about that, but it is pretty wild to hear some of this stuff,
Well, yeah, that whole thing's a mess. I don't even want to touch that too much, but like gross incompetence just across the board.
Oh, for the Secret Service side?
Just gross incompetence.
Well, so coming from a military background like you have,
Oh my goodness, yeah.
first off, there would be people crawling all over the place, but
yeah, you couldn't have really picked a better spot. There's so much dead space, like the area that you can't see, but you have the, like the other side of the ridge, if you will. There's so much of that. It's 2024. A couple $100 drone flying the area. I just don't see how. And then a slung rifle, nothing that was even assembled in place. I just don't see how all that's missed.
Was able to walk up to his building. I've heard conflicting reports. I've heard 150 feet away, and then I've heard 160 yards away. But either way, 160 yards is a doable shot for anyone, skilled hunter to hit an animal. So
anyone, I mean, thank God that this person, I mean, I know, some people were hurt. I know someone was killed, so that's very unfortunate. Yeah. But thank God that he was not a good shot or an accurate shot. But any normal person with any amount of training could make a shot inside of that distance, no problem.
Yeah, I've heard. We lost the middle camera again, so we're just gonna keep going. I've heard that people were saying that they feel like it's staged or an inside job. Like, how do you feel about those two things?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get myself inside jobbed here, but I don't know. I love the conspiracy things. I love talking the conspiracy things, but that's a level of evil I think I'm not ready to fully buy in that my government or my something, some large organization or whatever that could orchestrate that and work. I'm just not ready to agree that evil exists yet.
For inside job?
Mm-hmm. Though I feel the likelihood is far from 0%.
I feel like inside job is more likely than staged.
Oh, I don't think it was staged. I just mean
you don't want to accept I
don't want to accept, but yeah, I mean with all the MK Ultras, with all the everything that.
Do you feel like Kennedy was an inside job?
I feel like the more we find out about it, the more it feels like the original story kind of never made sense.
Right.
But they only had this Zapruder film, or I believe I'm pronouncing that right back then. Now everybody got a camera on everything.
Yeah.
And the NSA, the police, the whomever has the ability to gather up all this information pretty quickly. So if they wanted to know, they would have angles from everything.
Oh, yeah, and with AI, they probably could.
Well, it's not. I mean, it is AI, but they can just do the little geofence and pull all the data off every phone that's in.
Right.
You agree to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of videos of the shooter like climbing up on the roof and people yelling, "Hey, he's got a gun! Hey, there's a guy with a gun up there."
That with everything that we know about what governments are capable of doing.
Yeah.
Slapping a kid on SSRIs or whatever, feeding them the right propaganda, feeding algorithms, social media, all that stuff. Yeah, I think it is very possible. I just don't want to fully acknowledge that something like that would happen or could happen.
Well, what about an inside job from the perspective of someone told the Secret Service to stand down?
But that means someone knew it was happening. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So it's it's the fall guy. It's like Shooter.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's so do I think, I do. I think all that's possible. I just don't.
Yeah, Shooter was such a good movie.
But I hate it. But it's like that.
Yeah.
But they find a way to cultivate a very specific, they all seem to look alike kind of kid.
Right.
Fits a narrative that they can really just push an agenda. They're telling you what is, he was registered this voter. It was da-da-da. It's just right out of the gate.
Right.
And it's normally after something terrible happens. This was terrible. Somebody died. Someone did actually die. So it's it is terrible. Donald Trump, luckily, but nothing bad other than, some shock and stuff that he has to live with. But normally it's after something way worse. I don't even want to say them, but the mass occurrences that happen.
Yeah, I know that you were saying that, like, how terrible it was that someone died. And I told you before the podcast, I wish I wouldn't have, because I wanted to see your reaction, because I didn't realize you hadn't heard this yet.
I hadn't.
But Tenacious D, which is like Jack Black's band, I don't remember the guy's name.
I think it's Kyle something.
Glass. It's like gas or glass or whatever. Anyways, something happened where it was like his birthday or something, and they blew on the candle and asked him about his wish that he made, and he essentially said his wish is that next time they wouldn't miss on Trump. And now I just saw this today. Tenacious D, Jack Black has canceled the rest of their tour, and he's not doing it anymore. But it's crazy to me that someone would even make a comment like that.
Yeah, man, that's terrible. The level coming in. No worries.
Yeah, because this camera's not working, so it's fine. Go ahead. The level.
Yeah, the level of or the lack of empathy, the lack of just it's deplorable, dude.
Yeah.
But I liked Tenacious D. I liked Jack Black. I say liked because I mean he has leaned so far heavy into that like satanic stuff, and I guess I overlooked it. I was a little more libertarian in my personal belief section of like, doesn't bother me. But now it's just like, I don't want to see that type of stuff. I don't like the devil and all of his stuff. I don't like how, and then he's like in the School of Hard Rocks, good for kids. I don't know, man. It's just too, at some point, I feel like everybody gets a little conservative and you just get older and you just go like, we're good.
Yeah. You see it in the old people. They're like, I don't like the way this person does this.
Yeah,
right? But no,
like,
I understand completely. But no, I mean, I think that Aubrey and I feel this on a much smaller level where people disassociate us as human beings. Mm-hmm. We are a thing on the internet, or we're like this thing. We're not people. So they just tend to say things about us like we don't have feelings, or like because we've chosen the path we've chosen in our life, they're allowed to do it, right?
And they get to be so rude. I mean, I don't even know what
hateful.
Word. Hateful. Yeah, just like next level. Like, why do you even have such a strong opinion about me? You don't know me.
Well, like something I hold on to a lot, and I don't even know if I could find the red thread anymore, but there was a thread that legitimately said that Letty was not my child, that Aubrey cheated on me with Austin, who was our videographer at the time, and on top of all that, it was the first time I'd seen Reddit users like want to join in, but be like, you're saying some like pretty like crazy
salacious
things.
stuff.
Yeah. And they were like, I have proof. They respond back, I have proof, right? So then everyone's like, oh, let's see the proof, like show it. And of course nothing came about because it's like not true.
Right.
And it's funny to me now whenever I post videos of like Letty, we did the family reaction video of us, and like people see my sisters and they're like, holy crap, Brad's family's genes are like copy paste.
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. The eyes, the face shape, all of that.
Yeah. And so it's funny to me because they're like, oh my gosh, Brad's daughter like looks like his aunts, and it's like, well, that only happens one way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But yeah,
we get so comfortable, man. Folks got comfortable not getting popped in the mouth for because they were at keyboards distances. But I think everything contributed to it. But like even the mass pornography or whatever, the just sex everywhere. I think it's just really like made it to where people aren't people. Like people, you're an internet person. You don't count. You're not real.
Right.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. But like, what did Donald Trump ever do to Jack Black's friend or bandmate? Right. No name bandmate. No one knows your name. And Donald Trump doesn't know your name. What did he do to you? Right. And you wish him death. It's so terrible.
Yeah, we were talking about in here. It's like, I don't think that there's anyone that I mean, truthfully, I guess if someone that like hurt kids, I would probably wish death on them. But in general, like some guy stole something from a grocery store, wouldn't wish death on him. Especially if he didn't do anything to me. Like,
I don't wish ill will on anybody. I don't have time for it. I don't want to keep that space in my heart. I'm not saying I'm not prone to like thinking about it for a minute, but if I really realize I'm like harboring any amount of like wanting someone to even not do well in life, I try to get rid of that shit in my heart. I don't like it. And so to hold on to like you want someone to die enough to say it publicly, It's crazy to me.
You're giving a random person too much power.
I know.
Because, I mean, when people say this, it's so true. If you're so fixated on how someone else has wronged you or like whatever, you're just allowing them so much room in your brain, your headspace. And in my opinion, that's the most valuable thing you got is your headspace.
Yeah, man. I have all kinds of opinions about President Biden. I do not agree with him at pretty much anything I've heard him say politically. I don't wish that man get a cold.
Right.
I don't want him to.
I truly feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him, and that's all that aside. Yes, I think all the things, but I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And this dude wants somebody to get shot. You're terrible. Do better. What camera am I looking at? Right here. You're terrible. Do better.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's one of the things that I think frustrates me the most is that disconnect. And so if you ever catch me doing it, smack me because I don't want to.
Same.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be that kind of person. So, well, you know what? Since we're on this topic, a bunch of adults acting like babies, Japan is now producing more adult diapers than they are babies' diapers.
Okay.
And Japan is like one of the largest countries that's seeing this change. I think we've all, like a lot of people talk about birth rate in Japan. It's at like 0.5, which means that like by 2050, 65% or 50% of Japan's population will be 65 and older. Like, that's crazy.
It's an aging population. That's not good.
And they're saying that by, like, 2050, the world's population, the only population that's actually continuing to grow, you want to guess what country?
What's that?
Or nation? Africa? Continent? Well,
well,
they're still growing. Everyone else is.
There's all kinds of economic or however you want to look at it, statistics on that. But our lives are easier, more technologically filled than they ever have been, but I truthfully believe folks become depressed because they're not responsible for any of the things. I mean, you didn't build a fire today. You didn't you didn't harvest food. You didn't gather anything. You didn't whatever. And so, like, you worked a mundane job that you don't like, that you don't feel good about.
Right.
And you have a lot of time to just sit around and woe is me. Third world countries, man, wake up. Got to go get water. I brought water for my whole family. I went all the way down to the thing myself, carried this heavy-ass thing back. And I know it's simple, and maybe I'm oversimple, but it's like I think that they would feel proud about an accomplishment. I don't feel like a lot of people have these things. You know, it's part of why I go to the gym. It's part of why I do just hard, random stuff because I need to, like, know that I still can or whatever.
Yeah, I heard someone say, you know, we get jealous of our friend's house, so we get a new house, and then we get jealous of our friend's kitchen, so we renovate our kitchen, and then all of a sudden our friend gets a bigger kitchen, so we get a bigger house, and then our friend goes on a vacation, so we go on a vacation, and then we have to keep working harder and harder and harder to, like, keep up with this idea that we don't even really care about, like, to impress other people. And it's honestly, I know it's going to sound stupid, this is honestly how I feel about the vehicle right now.
Well, yeah.
My Jeep got lemon lawed. I am borrowing a Toyota Corolla, which is actually a pretty nice Toyota Corolla, from my parents. It's my grandma's car, but she's not driving. So I'm borrowing it while I'm looking for a new car. And I find myself, like, wanting a less and less expensive vehicle because, like, I don't want to play that game.
Yep.
Can I buy a Lamborghini Urus today? Yes, I can do it. I can do it all cash. I could do it, and it would be done.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want to. I don't care about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think for me,
I drive a paid off pickup truck.
Yeah.
I don't. I like renting those types of things, but yeah, no way. I don't have a flashy brand. You don't have a flashy brand. You don't want a flashy brand. I know people that will tell you they'll lie to you, I think, and tell you they like it. I think a lot of them like it to start, and then the keeping up with it. I don't know the Andrew Tates of the world or whatever, but I know some folks that have a pretty luxury brand for themselves. A lot of the capital raising and real estate guys. It's pretty hard to one up yourself all the time. It gets pretty expensive. Mm-hmm. And again, you got to work really hard. To touch on what you said, though, I think a lot of people do that. They keep up with their friends. They wind up living their friend's life. They're not even living a life. They're not even chasing what they wanted, because
My favorite thing when we went to the Robin Dalen Bailey's Warhouse Gym Camp in like February 2016, literally someone asked like, when did Robin Dalen feel successful? Or it was some kind of question about success, and he like really turned around and like threw the question back, and he goes like, what does success mean to you? Because I think that everyone starts adopting everyone else's like definition of success. And for me, I guess like I'm successful because I want to have a happy marriage, a family, which, you know, Aubrey and I are creating, and a nice home. And like that to me is like what's real success is. You know, I mean, yeah, there's some financial aspect of it. Is like, yeah, we're comfortable. We're not like starving over here. I'm not necessarily where I would like want to end up, but I don't think that I would be any more or less successful with more money in my bank account than I do right now.
I don't know. Successful is I like to use that very specifically. Like if I try to do something, I'm successful at that thing. I think as long as
okay, so
I quantify being a successful person as like I've tried to do a lot of shit. I was successful at the stuff I tried to do. I didn't necessarily try, nor am I trying to compare myself to them. But like Elon Musk just went after bigger stuff.
Right.
And so I'm not saying we're as successful. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I've been successful at everything I've tried. So like I feel successful.
Okay. You died right this second. Yeah. And I'm up in heaven with you. And I go, hey, Adam, was your life successful?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
My family.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. So, yeah.
All the other stuff I need, I like businesses. I like the dollar bills are just how you get to value what you're doing in the open market.
Yeah.
Though, like I said, I like doing what I like doing. We like currently feeding people cookies, makes them smile. It's fun.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to go on with that tequila brand. I didn't want to be in nightclubs with bottle service girls. That would not be good for my family situation. Right. Even if I do nothing, it's still not great.
But cookies are really good for your family situation.
Cookies great. Cookies are wholesome, man. Yeah. You know, I love it. And I love that part of it. And it feeds another part of my deal, which also feels like success. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's a tough word. I think anybody can feel successful if you are, I don't even want to pick a career and say that's lowest. Whatever you do, if you, for the most part, like it, there's all going to be things we, don't necessarily like. If you like what you do for the most part, and the stuff you try to do, you accomplish. I think you're successful.
Well, I think a lot of, in my opinion, successful things is just like taking control of the things you can take control of, and you can be successful. Because it's like, do you want to get married? Well, be a person that can get married and then marry. Yeah, and then marry someone. Right. You want to have a family? Well, do what you can control to have a family.
Yep.
You want to work less? Do what you have to do to start working less.
Yep.
I think a lot of it is just like taking, control of your actions and like living your life instead of letting, life happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but while we're talking about families and things like that, a recent study said that paper straws have more forever chemicals than plastic straws. So
can't win.
Plastic was actually may have been better for you.
Yeah, can't win.
Well, I think a lot of the stuff too, they've talked about like men's testosterone levels, fertility rates in women, fertility rates men, just like the decline happening. I think you bring up a lot of good points that have nothing to do with our food, have to do with like working outside. Yep. People can say what they want to, but the sunlight is good for you, working outside. Foods obviously have changed a lot.
Sure.
Very hyper palatable foods that have a lot of different things added in.
Yeah. Well, we're metabolizing food all the time instead of kind of being just a little lighter, leaner, like,
they ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if that.
Yeah. And just moved around a lot and did things that, I don't know, man. Changed car tires seemed like people did that a lot more than now. Now the services that come help you and help me. I'm lost. I'm incapable.
There's services now though. Come to your house and fill up your gas tank.
Well, I know, man. I just see videos times of old of like granddad in there, like being a sheetrock expert and an electrician and a carpentry guy and a whatever, and like that wasn't any of his job. That like he did that on the weekends. Somehow just, and so you're like, yeah. I feel like depression was a lot lower in those days because you just at least felt a little better about your ability as a person.
Yeah.
And we don't do that anymore.
Well, I can't wait to interview my grandparents because, like, and you talking about some of the stuff you're talking about, like, I've, heard it firsthand, about some of that stuff.
But so paper straws, more chemicals, man. You just can't trust anything. I mean.
Well, so while we're talking about chemicals, they did the first study they've ever done on tampons, apparently, which is wild to me because women are shoving these into their bodies like one of the places that you could absorb a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you could.
They found levels of like arsenic and lead inside of them.
Goodness.
So, I mean, I don't know if Kirsty does, but like Aubrey has like that diva cup. Like she doesn't even use tampons anymore. She has this cup that you put up in there and it like collects it and then you dump it and you put it back in. It's like silicone.
I don't know. But
I know a lot about this.
Yeah. I don't know. We're going to get her some special tampons then. I don't want that. That's crazy. That makes sense. I never thought about it. I don't use them. I've bought them for her plenty of times, but yeah, wow, okay.
Can I get the lead-free version, please?
Well, man, damn.
Unleaded
just
tampons.
Mass manufacturing to meet global demand. I mean, I don't know how this would pertain to arsenic and lead, but like planned obsolescence, like is literal big business, man. They don't want their products to be too good or too efficient because they need you to buy more crap, which means more packaging, more material, more whatever,
right,
and more waste. And yeah, dang, 5 ppb for lead and 5 ppb for cadmium. So parts per billion. There's no safe for arsenic.
Oh, no. So the research measured the elevated mean concentration of lead at 120 parts per billion, which is comparison. The FDA's allowable limit for water is 5 parts per billion. So it has, 24 times the allowable amount of lead in water. And it has more than the cadmium and...
What brand? Probably.
All,
find
60,
it across the board.
60 name and store brands. Yeah.
Some made
from organic cotton and some from non-organic cotton. So truthfully, it looks like lead is the only bad one, and maybe a little bit of, I don't know what cadmium. I've never heard of what it does to you.
Heavy metals. I don't
heavy
know
metal. Because that's above the limit, but for arsenic, it's about a quarter of the limit. So you're. But I guess that's every. Is that because
can't be every brand?
Well, but I'm trying to say though is like a woman doesn't insert one tampon a day. Like she inserts multiple times a day. So like, is she getting that every time she inserts?
It would be
a tampon?
what was absorbed versus what didn't.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's still wild though. Well, I've heard stories that
and it doesn't mean that like you necessarily die. It does mean though that like damage occurs. Your body is good at healing itself, but I think this is where people get a lot of those. Did you use such and such and such and such back in the day?
Yeah.
Commercials, because it's like you got beat up, you were young, your body handled it just fine, and then now people are getting cancer at alarming rates. It's just,
at young rates. Well, my sister at 35, gets diagnosed with throat cancer. Actually, she was 34 at the time. She turned 35 afterwards. And then also, I sent you a message this morning that a guy we know that is younger than me, so he's in his early 30s. Yep. I feel like. We think had a heart attack and died. Obviously, there may have been some extracurricular activities, but at the end of the day, like this dude's in his 30s and had a heart attack. Ben Lawson, our old assistant that would work with us, got leukemia at like 30 years old.
Wow,
you remember him, Ben Lawson, the big dude?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I do.
Yeah. So just crazy. Yeah. Oh. Either way, I think that's like wild. That they found all of that in the tampons. Yeah, dude. Also, like, how have they never done a study on tampons? I
don't know.
I feel like that's something you should know. If you're going to put something inside your body, 100%.
Yeah, this is where we need, we got the government watching all kinds of stuff. It's sort of like, this is where we need y'all, This is where we need y'all.
I get it. Like, I really appreciate that you have an FDA allowable limit on a bunch of these bad things in bottled water.
Now randomly sample them.
Yeah, but also make sure that you have a allowable limit for the other stuff where people are putting in their body.
Yeah, no shit.
But no, I saw that one and I think it just kind of blew me away. Again, just because we're talking about the the decline in, just the way people look, and people want to point to just the factors of, like you said, like this guy was farming, he was outside every day, he was working. This guy's a construction worker, he was working, and now this guy's sitting in an office job. But I think it's like a lot of different things, obviously, that go into it.
Lifestyles have changed so much. Diet has changed so much. Neither of which are in a way that like burns more calories or fuels more things around. Like circulation is huge for recovery and healing and everything. And we're moving less, so we're circulating less. There's more gunk in there. There's forever chemicals in our paper straws that we're sucking down sugary drinks and all kinds of stuff. There's no one culprit, but when you're sticking freaking lead up yourself and rubbing chemicals on your skin for the sun, and then or not getting any, and then getting no sun, and then going outside rubbing chemicals on and still getting burnt to hell, exposing yourself, sucking that stuff in, and then drink, and then sitting. You
know what? Truthfully, if I was going to sum it into one thing, the killer is convenience.
Yeah, it is 100%. Wall-E, man. Have you seen that movie?
I've never actually seen Wall-E.
Watch it, and you will see what we're evolving into.
I feel like I missed a lot of those like early Pixar movies because like I didn't have a kid, and then I was like in my like mid 20s, so like why am I going to go watch Wall-E?
I got a damn 11-year-old, so we've been holding it down.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of movies that I mentioned, and I think I've told you, you still have young enough kids that you still watch them, but like I've told you about like, I saw this one, and you'd be like, we wanted to see that, So yeah, not quite there yet on that. I think I would just run into like fat and weird updates now. It's been crazy watching the amount of cookies go out of this facility. I know that we've probably talked about it before, and we've told you guys, but it's just like, I mean, we've had multiple people baking and sealing all day, every day, and like used to, it's like we had one person by himself,
a couple hours,
sealing.
We've got big equipment. We had a larger than we needed or whatever. It did a lot more throughput than we needed at the time, but we knew what was coming, and so it was just like have a guy there. I say a couple hours, but he or she was done by like noon or so.
Always the least amount of hours on payroll. They didn't mind because they didn't really care. Yeah. But like, I never saw them here to the end of their shift, or rarely. I wouldn't say never. It was rare. And now it's like
ovens are firing up at 4 a.m. We're running them until the afternoons and making plans to run them even longer. The second flow wrapper we brought in, we're working on getting VideoJet down to install the print head unit,
and it'll be fully operational too.
And then it'll be fully operational, and then we're working with folks on really just kind of going way extended hours / round the clock packing. Yeah. To get these orders fulfilled. So it's fun. It's full speed ahead though.
Yeah, we made a really fun YouTube video. So I feel like it's going to be up probably by the time this podcast is up, or like shortly after, on Fat and Weird's channel. But we go through kind of like a day in the life of the factory. So we go into like a day in the life of production. We show what shipping's like. We just kind of give you like a high level look what it looks like in a probably 12-hour period at Fat and Weird. So hopefully you guys can watch that and you enjoy that video, because like I said, it kind of gives you an idea of like all the different facets in operation. I wanted you to be able to just like kind of take a snapshot and just kind of see like every piece of the wheel spinning for Fat and Weird. So I'm really excited about that video. And then obviously we found out our co-packer wants to move facilities by the end of this month. And so that's a little stressful because we feel like we've just kind of onboarded and ramped up with them, and now they want to move facilities.
So that'll be an interesting juggle. We do have a draw buffer, so we have been able to kind of stash, being a smart little squirrels, have been able to kind of have a stash of cookies at a free offsite storage for us in the freezer. And if we have any issues, we should be able to use that. They're claiming they're only going to be down for a week.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I will say their new facility is bigger and has a lot more capabilities. Yeah. So very exciting.
It is very exciting.
In that front because, we have a chance.
And it's closer to the airport, so we can go check them out.
Oh, yeah.
Easier.
Way closer.
Way closer.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I'll tell you guys, where their last facility was literally by a mental institution.
It was in the middle of a mental institution place. It was like Shutter Island vibes. It's wild. You turn in there and you're like, what are these massive abandoned buildings with these fences all over the place. You're like, what?
It would make like really dope apartments afterwards.
Yeah,
Like gut job making apartments.
Or a haunted house, man. Like it would be scary as hell.
I feel like you have to bring in a lot of money through a haunted house.
Yeah, paintball, like pop up paintball tournament.
Yeah, I've always wondered why they don't do that with abandoned buildings like St. Louis, bro. Like there were so many skyscrapers like abandoned. It's like, bro, you could turn this into like a real life war zone going on in here, you know?
Well, folks, I mean, they're not like doing it renegade style, but you could easily do like FPV drone races in some of those.
Oh yeah,
it'd be hard to do too much where you needed too many people.
Right.
But if you were live streaming like 12 dudes with the FPV drones, that'd be kind of neat.
Well, I think you live stream like
business plan,
fake SWAT kind of scenario too. Like live stream it like this is a hostage situation in this building. This is, and then you have like a SWAT team. And I think you could live stream it and then do it with like paintball or non-lethal rounds. And like literally, it's not scripted. It's like who's gonna win?
Yeah,
who's gonna win?
Force on force.
Yeah. See,
fun.
These are.
That'd be fun.
Good ideas. Yeah. I know you'd be in it when
you. Yeah. That's kind of what you did. I mean, that's what you did in the shoot
Adam's
house.
rappelling upside down from a building.
That's what you did in the shoot house, dude. And it was always annoying. You know, the instructors always had all the information. You had none. Yeah. They're communicating with people, you know, so they'd always get you, but it was always fun.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm already starting our next like live stream thing that we can do. All right. So we got the move of them. We have, what else is on the horizon? I know we've spoke to QVC. I have a training like middle of August for like going. You have to go through training to go in QVC. So I have that. So I'll keep y'all updated on what that training is like and things like that. I should probably share that on social media. Yeah. Well, find out what I can share and then share it. You know,
do it behind the scenes.
Yeah,
training.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a super niche thing that not a lot of people get to experience.
Yeah, QVC's weird.
I'll be growing my audience that's over the age of 55.
Yes, you will.
That's what
get
people
your telephones ready.
And then what else? Any other news for Fat and Weird side?
No, everything's kind of just 80% of a lot of things.
Yeah, it's I did a day in the life video, which will be up next week for our personal channel, and it is kind of like talking through the entrepreneurial stuff of like what can be very difficult for me is that the hurry up and wait thing is very hard for me because I'm the kind of person that like I want to check it off my list. Right. But everything is like you said, it's like you can do 80% really fast, but that last 20% always takes a while. And sometimes that a while is like a couple of weeks, and then sometimes it is a year. I mean, no, the development order took forever. Then we got it, and now it's like, well, we can't really build right now because we're just like in a kind of in between phase, so we can't really do anything. And then it's like, do we even really want to build now? And so it's like there's all this stuff, and you're just like, yeah. So anyway, that's about it. So hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm sure Eastman will still make it look great. You probably won't even know what happened.
That's right.
You're worth it. Do hard shit. This camera, because this camera's not working. So you gotta look at that one.
No. See ya.